Today, I have to present one of the topics proposed during the course and chosen to deal with disability and pop culture topic. For this, I watched the video Bioethics in Human Body presented by Maggie Little, a senior research scholar at the Kennedy Institute of Ethics and professor of philosophy at Georgetown. For a quick summary, the video deals with disability, highlighting several situations to better understand how bioethics can be involved in this environment. We will see together what it is to be disabled, how these people live with it, but we will also see what disability is, whether we can talk about disability or human improvement with the intervention of bioethics, and whether it is possible to change, to intervene on the human organism. First of all, what is disability? According to Google, being disabled is a physical or mental condition that limits a person's movement, senses, or activities, or a disadvantage or handicap, especially one imposed or recognized by the law. We therefore understand that disability exists in two different forms. Those we see because they are physical, and those we can see, the mental ones. On the physical level, there are many handicaps between body malformation from birth or war wounded. In terms of mental disability, there are several, but each of them impacts the cognitive skill of the individual. The well-known are autism and Down syndrome. Even so, autism is a more common factor due to the many forms it possesses. In Maggie Little's lecture video, she mentions a gentleman with a different body to ours, insisting on the differences he has from us normal bipeds. Despite his body being different from normal, Maggie Little said that this gentleman saw his body as a normal body and that his parents had accepted his deformities before birth, saying that people come in lots of different shapes and sizes. However, Maggie insists on the fact that our society is made for bipeds according to certain thoughts, making it clear that the difference had difficulty being accepted in today's society. One can conclude from this that despite the fact that a disabled person thinks he is normal, society does not think so, making the person concerned feel a certain rejection, a certain exclusion at the level of normality. To better deal with this subject, we will ask ourselves the question, what is a disability? As seen above, this is a rather broad question, and it's turned out that even bioethics always seeks an answer to this. The first point to be considered in this question is the disability itself. Being disabled is not easy, whether it is physical or mental, but it is normal for those who live with it every day. Normal bipeds see disability as something extremely difficult, not being able to imagine doing something that turned out to be quite normal for the disabled person in question. While doing some research, I came across a site that included various testimonials from people with disability and reduced mobility. According to the various testimonies, most normal bipeds, as Maggie Little calls them in her speech, have differing feelings of sadness, pity, or disgust. However, people with disability do not see anything bad in it because for them, this disability is their daily life, a part of their person. On the other hand, we understand through these testimonies that they feel left out of society because normal bipeds do not accept their disabilities. In pop culture, we can take the example of the film Intouchable, which deals with the subject of a physically handicapped person moving with a wheelchair. In this film, we follow Philip's daily life alongside Driss, played by Omar Sy. Philip's being completely paralyzed, his daily life seems to be a kind of weight for Driss, who must accompany him anywhere. In fact, one of the best known pas de bras, pas de chocolat lines highlights the need for someone who is paralyzed because even in order to feed themselves, that person needs help. Maggie Little expresses, in fact, that we must try to understand the difficulty of each, as well as problems that differ from ours, instead of rejecting them for their physical or mental difference. Because of inappropriate behavior by those she called normal bipeds, a normal person, normal vision can change, causing them anxiety. The second point is that of the war wounded. Their disability is not from birth but caused by another biped. In this particular case, one can also have a physical difference due to the loss of a limb or mental because of trauma. In my research, I found a small testimony of a fighter pilot who lost a shoulder. According to him, the feeling is nothing but as if he had left, that his body has been dissociated from something, pointing out that he felt a real loss of something in his identity, in his person. On the other hand, in this article, the thoughts of other soldiers are not similar. While some feel lost, others feel a real belief to be alive. If we are looking for a case in pop culture, we can suggest Professor Xavier in X-Men. His handicap comes from a fight with an alien who will inflict the old wound that is the loss of limbs, here of the legs, which will later paralyze Professor Xavier, condemning him to live in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He will then fight against evil so as not to lose his first objectives. And final point for this question is that of progress with the existence of prostheses. During her speech, Maggie Little highlights the progress that bioethics and biotechnology have made in recent years. It is true that today technology is present everywhere, even on the human body if necessary. She explains the use of prostheses made from solid and light materials in order to make the life of some people, such as those of the war wounded, a little easier. The use of prostheses is proving to be very effective, to the point that some people think they have the same effect as magical spell. Indeed, some athletes with disabilities equipped with prostheses are considered advantageous, according to Maggie, because the materials are lighter than the original muscles of a human body. But there is a difference of opinion. This is Charles' testimony, so you have to watch the video I have to put in link. Thank you. In this short speech, He explains that progress has given him hope in life, that the work of researchers is great, and that anything he could do before is always possible, as if he had never lost his leg. He expresses well that his life continues and that it is filled with happy moments thanks of for the prosthesis he has on his legs. He points out that his life is virtually unchanged. For the pop culture parenthesis, we can opt for the Winter Soldier and his super mechanical arm that we can consider as a prosthesis, since it comes to replace a lost limb. Moreover, a new question may be asked. Knowing that some people find that biotechnology and its prosthesis are beneficial in certain areas, can we talk about disability or human improvement or human enhancement? Bioethics is like magic working to bring back what was lost. We can repeat Charles Little's speech, who continues to play tennis and make his life as if he had not lost his leg. On the one hand, it proves that prosthesis and progress can be considered magic. Technological progress allows for something new in our present society, putting researchers at the status of magician. Take the example of Tony Stark, also known as Iron Man, who improved his heart. We can consider his technological advance as magical, while it leans rather towards the question of the cyborg. But before moving on to the cyborg debate, it should be known that prostheses are substitute for lost limbs created by man. There is nothing magical about them, and their purpose is to help those in need. Now we can talk about the cyborg. It is proving to be a rather important debate in our present society, since the technology and progress will be present within the human organism itself. In addition, this option seems to be interesting for some people, such as athletes, whom I mentioned earlier in my presentation. Some of them would like to have the capacity of disabled prosthetics team, since this famous prosthesis will make it possible to obtain better results due to the lightness of the material used. This will mean that bioethics will intervene and that this will be the invention of the cyborg, the combination between human and machine. Reading an article in Le Monde, it seems that the debate on the cyborg is already something current. They would already be among the human population mentioning the owners of bionic prostheses as cyborg. The cyborg debate also goes on about superheroes. It's turned out that technology and researchers are wondering whether humans deserve to find a solution to offer powers to some of them. Science does not wait for permission from anyone to start looking for solutions to improve the human being, since the field of bioethics already seems to be conducting research aimed at linking the human nervous system with electromechanics. This cyborg ideology is often found in films such as Terminator, for example, even if the characteristics given to it are not as benevolent as the researchers actually want. For researchers in bioethics, this is surely scientific research for better future, for qualitative improvement of the human body, or a technological advances to be engraved in the history of the world. But is it good to want to manipulate the human body so much? Let's go back to Maggie Little's lecture. During the video, she asked if is it okay to mess with human nature. Indeed, if we want to touch the human body, we must be prepared to do shit if events go wrong. We must also see if it can be problematic in the future to want to excessively manipulate the constitution of a human body. Wanting to change human nature and improve it through biotechnology is more moving towards a world where human and humanoids could coexist. In the topic of humanoid often comes the topic of AI, so artificial intelligence, knowing that the two go together. It's not really a disability issue anymore. It's about people improving through science, through biotechnology, which also helps people with disability to get back to a more or less normal life to the society. But bioethics not only revolves around progress around disability, but rather around progress on humans. Humanoids are already a waking dream, knowing that several cinematographic works deal with subjects including the oldest Star Wars, between R2D2, 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 and his friend C3PO. Our society already envisioned a future where man and man created by man will live together. But is it important to know that fears also lie behind this ideology? Indeed, the technology proves that the human being is advancing much scientifically. But the fear of a technological recurrence by robots with artificial intelligence persists. iRobot is an excellent example of this fear, where the humanoid, the work of man, is preparing to put an end to this coexistence. If we want to make a conclusion, we can say that bioethics allows scientific advances on the various problems that is disability, whether physical or mental. Even if biotechnology is mainly made for physical disability through prosthesis. On the other hand, disability is a subject that we find quite frequently in various well-known works, such as Intouchable or some Marvel works. Bioethics, on the other hand, is an ideology for some period films that already imagined a future full of technology, even if not many works shed light on the bad side of science. But we can conclude that disability is a rather well-treated subject in pop culture, and that bioethics is an important element for the advancement of science on man. Here my resources for this presentation, and thanks for listening all along. Bye.